And thank you for joining us. Now, also tonight, for our first segment, it's our favorite segment. It's our quarantine Papa Russ bits of the week, our Quaran bits. Now, I want to tell you guys, during the break, I got myself a PlayStation VR machine. I am a nut for video games, as I have mentioned many times on this show. And I was so excited to finally get virtual reality. I got the Iron Man VR bundle. But I will have you know that it is not only awesome and immersive, but about 5 minutes into having it, me and my son were already arguing over who had next on Iron Man VR, and my wife came downstairs and threatened to take it away from both of us. Okay. Okay, I'm a grown-ass man. Okay, no, I'm not. Okay, but I couldn't believe it. But then it reminded me of what my mother used to do when I was a kid. If I ever fought with my little brother or my cousins over the original Nintendo system, because this is what a badass my mother was. She would not take away the Nintendo system. She would take away the power cord to the Nintendo system, the actual power source. So you would still have to look at it and pine for it and reach out for it, you know what I mean? Like Celine Dion, you know what I mean? You were just longing for it. And of course, I mean, she's a fucking psycho. What kind of psycho does that? She should work for me. And of course, I was still scamming and scheming. So I would try to take the power cord from my boombox and go to plug it into it. But of course, I would then take that cord and give it to my little brother, Jonathan, and say, don't worry, Jonathan, this is perfectly safe. I have a plan. And he'd be like, yes, Russell, no problem. I absolutely trust you, you know. And then I would give him the cord. I would back up about 8 feet, all right? Because if anybody's getting electrocuted, it's Jonathan, okay? And I would, of course, wait for him to plug in the cord to the back of the Nintendo and electrocute himself like Doc Brown in Back to the Future, like, I'll fucking kill you, Russell. So I was very excited, of course, to experience that when I was a kid, now that my wife is threatening to take the VR machine away from us. Okay, I'm trying to welcome Mike in. Now, the other thing about my VR machine that you guys absolutely must know is that I have a few VR tips for you that they are not going to give you in the YouTube tutorial that your Papa Russ is going to give you real OG gamers out there in the world tonight. Okay, now, VR tip number one is when I play video games, your Papa Russ loves to have a little drinky poo, okay? I love to have a little drinky poo with everything, if I'm being honest. With sports, my cousin's bris, it's always tequila o'clock, if you ask me. But I love having a little drinky poo while I'm gaming. It's like a little reward. When you beat a level, you have a little sippy poo, and then you go on to the next level. But nobody told me that when you put on your VR helmet, you need to set yourself up with a straw, okay? Because I got the aim controller, the gun controller for the thing, and I'm blasting all these aliens on Farpoint. I beat the level. I go, oh, I'll have a little drinky poo. Clank. I look like a fucking idiot. Can you imagine if somebody said, clank? I look like RoboCop at happy hour. You know what I mean? I look like a stormtrooper at the Imperial Christmas party on the Doom Death Star. Clank, you fucking moron, okay? So get a straw for your sippy poo, drinky poo during your gaming. Now, VR tip number 2 and 3, and hopefully Mike is going to retry to join, okay, is VR is very immersive. And it can be very distracting how immersive it is, okay? So VR tip number 2 is, one of the first games that I got for my VR system was the remake of Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the anniversary edition. And they had a new VR element. And there I was as Lara Croft, and I had a bow and arrow and huge tits. And it was so amazing, you know, but also very distracting because, of course, you know, I put down the bow and arrow and I'm fondling my computer tatas, okay? All right, hashtag me Jew, hashtag believe all Russells, okay? And I defy any of you at home not to fondle your own computer boobas, okay? All right, if you are so lucky to be bestowed with a pair, because they're very distracting. And of course, I didn't pay any attention to the bow and arrow. That's what the game is about. So you can't let yourself get distracted by the immersion. So that leads me to VR tip number 3. My last VR tip for tonight is also you cannot get too caught up in the VR moment, okay? Because the other game I downloaded that first week was a boxing game called Creed Rise to Glory from the Rocky sequel Creed, okay? And I've already beaten the game, and for all of you keeping the score at home, I have already risen to glory, okay? I rose to glory, all right? But there I was, okay? I'm Michael B. Jordan. I looked down at my arms. They are fucking amazing. You couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, how long was I outside last night? This is amazing. All black forearms matter. But I look over my shoulder. I'm in my first big fight of the career mode. And there is old Rocky, old Sylvester Stallone. And obviously I'm a Philly OG. I named my son Rocky. And I also went to school for musical theater, so I'm a sensitive, effeminate little bitch, okay? And I start to tear up, you know, I'm like, oh my God, hey Rocky, I love you, Rocky. I need my son after you, I love you so much. But then, of course, I look back to my left, and the AI boxer is right over me, like, pow, bang, boom, rip, you know. I'm on the fucking mat. It's a first round knockout. Rocky is ashamed of me. I'm ashamed of myself. I can no longer go on in either reality. So that's my tips for you tonight. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get a straw for your drinks. Don't get distracted by your digiboobs. And don't get too caught up in the moment when playing VR. Those are your quarantine bits of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Now,